Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Scout Watch, and this time I'm going to look at the game between Holland and Germany. Uh, it was a Euro qualifier. It finished 3-2 to Germany, and it was a very exciting game and a very good game to watch for the neutral. Lots of very interesting tactical elements going on, a lot of skill needed, and it was all in all, it was just a fantastic game for the neutral and for a football fan. It was there was so much to learn and to notice, and it was just fascinating. This video is 2 days late, so I apologize for that. The game was played on Sunday, and it's now Wednesday, so apologies, but I had a lot to do and therefore couldn't get to it, but I'm here now. So let's get straight into it. Um, Germany made loads of changes from the Germany and Serbia game. Um, it was it was a very different German side because they brought in a few players that did not play against Serbia, and they tweaked the formation. So to start off, Germany were a 3-5-2. Now this is was just on paper. They set up 3-5-2 on paper, as you can see. Rudiger coming in for Jonathan Tah. Very big change because if you look at Jonathan Tah in the Serbia game, which I did a scout watch for, he was very poor and he was getting cut up, and Serbia were able to play through Germany with a lot of ease and just create good chances. So Rudiger came in again instantly, bought some sort of stability, and alongside him it was Sula and Ginter, Matthias Ginter, of Dortmund. Again, this was a back three that for the most of the first half and for a bit of the second half also were able to take the pressure and were able to play out from the back, which is what Germany set up and wanted to do. The five in midfield, the wing back was Nico Schulz of Hoffenheim. The other wing back was Thilo Kehrer of PSG. In the middle, you had Joshua Kimmich and Toni Kroos. In front of them, the playmaker Goretzka. And the two strikers who are not ideally strikers, they're more wingers. They were playing centrally was Leroy Sané and Serge Gnabry. Now, it's very important to know that these guys are very good ball carriers and they're very good dribblers. So that's a key point to remember going in. Now, going into it, although it was a 3-5-2 on paper, when Germany were attacking, it was more of a 3-4-3, because what happened was there was always one wing back in certain positions that was able to go up, whether be it Nico Schulz um, or Thilo Kehrer. They were always able to go up and support Serge Gnabry and Leroy Sané, and more so when Serge Gnabry or Leroy Sané would drop back to deep to get the ball, because they're such good dribblers. At some points, both fullbacks would head up. So if Serge Gnabry or Leroy Sané drop back, Thilo Kehrer and Nico Schulz would both then go up, as you can see on the screen. So it somewhat became a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, but with a different phase in the attacking. And at some points it was also a 3-3-4, because there were times when they would just all attack because they had space. When Holland tried to have a high press, and therefore when they beat the high press, sometimes they had a lot of space, and it would therefore become a 3-3-4 at some points in the first half. No, not a lot of that happened, but it did happen on one or two occasions. So it was excellent tactical play from Joachim Low, and it was something that the commentators as well took a while to pick up on, and took a while to see how the Germans set up and how they moved tactically and were organized in that way. Also, during the first half they were playing through the high press. The high press was good, but it wasn't effective. It wasn't excellent. It was they were fairly easy for them, considering the players you have, Toni Kroos and Kimmich, to play out of the high press. It wasn't as strong as it should be. So Germans took the lead. Again, Leroy Sané, excellent goal from him, although Matthias de Ligt slipped. De Ligt, 19 years old, of Ajax, linked with all the biggest clubs. He's a top player, and he had a bad moment and he slipped, and that gave Sané the early goal. Germany were 2-0 up in the first half and were cruising. The second goal coming from Serge Gnabry. former Arsenal player, is now at Bayern Munich and doing very well for Bayern Munich. And he just scored a wonder goal, really. Dribbled past Van Dijk and just took him on and faced him up, cut inside, and curled one into the top corner. It was a great, great goal from Serge Gnabry. 2-0 up, Germany cruising. And you thought, well, it's all in control now. Holland came out in the second half, and it was a completely different Holland in the way they pressed, the mentality, the desire. It was all Holland in the second half. It was literally, like they say, it was a cliche, a game of two halves. You know, Holland did not change their formation. They played 4-3-3 throughout the game, but the way in which they pressed and the energy that they had and the attitude was what made it difficult for Germany to play through the press like they did in the first half. Holland, again, first half, Babel as well had two good chances, but when you look at the front three of Memphis Depay, Ryan Babel, and Quincy Promes, you're not really threatened because that doesn't look like a really strong front three. And Babel, to be honest, had a poor first half, missed two really good chances, and all in all, you have to say that going forward in major tournaments, Holland will need a better strike force. They had Bergwijn on the bench. I was a bit surprised why he didn't start because he offers a lot, but he was on the bench. And guess what? Second half, the first substitution before the game even started was Bergwijn for Ryan Babel. The game completely changed. Bergwijn, again, a very, very good dribbler and good with the ball, has good physical attributes as well. Excellent player. Plays for PSV Eindhoven. He came on the second half. Also, another thing along with the pressing that improved was the interchanging. Holland played the 4-3-3, and a lot about that system to be successful depends on how you interchange. And in the first half, the interchange wasn't so good. In the second half, the interchange when they had the ball was a lot better from Wijnaldum, Martin de Roon, and also from Depay. The interchanging was really good. Quincy Promes, again, he has great attributes. He's at Sevilla, great talent. He has close control, pace, and he was just causing all sorts of problems. They did get back into it. De Ligt scoring his first goal for Holland, and I'm sure he'll be very happy because he scored in his home ground, in his club ground as well. De Jong also picked his game up. He had a couple of loose passes in the first half, but in the second half he was a lot more composed, and he cut out the few mistakes that he made in the first half. But then again, with De Jong, that's the way he plays. You know, De Jong is the player that's always going to be calm in possession and is going to try and make a few passes and try and, you know, hold the ball for a little bit. And that's the risk with the way he plays, that he can always, you can always get a chance out of him, or you can always try and press him for a mistake. And if he does make a mistake, you're in. Bergwijn also provided good firepower attack. He was linking up well with the right back Denzel Dumfries, so it was a good combination play. And they got their second goal with a great finish from Memphis Depay. And all in all, it was 2-2 with 75-80 minutes to go, and you thought, you know, this game could be Holland's game. They could nick it because it was entirely Holland for the second half. Germans really were not up to it in the second half. It was like as if they didn't even show up. And at 2-2, you really felt like Holland would, you know, go out and nick the game. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Germany made two crucial substitutions just before the 80th minute mark, which was Marco Reus and Gundogan. And I'll get to it in a bit how those two substitutions changed the game. But in the 90th minute, Reus crossed the ball. Nico Schulz, the wing back in the box, found himself in the box and finished it to make it 3-2 Germany. Now, I'm going to go into explaining how that changed, how those two substitutions changed the game. First of all, Reus, with his crossing, he can cross with both foot, and he's a very good player of the offside trap. You know, I spoke about Reus in the Germany-Serbia game and told you how Reus is always, he can dribble, he can shoot with both feet. You never know if he's going to shoot. Sometimes he gets into shooting positions and crosses it, and therefore it becomes an easy goal. And Nico Schulz, like, if you look at the goal, it was a pretty well taken, but a goal that you'd expect a player to take. And again, it was all Reus because he broke the offside trap, went in and crossed brilliantly. Um, Another key element was because Holland were pressing so well and so good. The substitution of Gundogan for Joshua Kimmich, for Goretzka, beg your pardon, was incredibly important because with Gundogan, what you get is tight control in areas when it's congested, and he can give you close control in tight areas, and that is vital when you have a high press and they're pressing well, because then he can help you get out of position, has enough technical ability to do that. Another important point about Gundogan is that he can play through the high press by dribbling or by passing. So he doesn't need to. He doesn't have a one-dimension game. He can hold the ball and beat off a few players and then release it to the wingers. By then the press is already beaten. Or he can play. He has the vision as well to play the ball first time if needed, or on second touch, and therefore create space in that way. So it was a very great substitution, but it could have been done earlier to give Germany a bigger foothold in the game. But having said that, they won the game anyway. So you have to say that it was a great decision by Joachim Löw. And that was that for the game. It was a very interesting game. For those that watched just the highlights, I would recommend you to go on and watch the full match highlights and not just the extended highlights. Watch the full 90 minutes, because there were bits of play that were really, really interesting and really, really good for a football fan to know and see how they did things differently, and to also pick up, if you're a young coach or you're a young manager, on how you can set up your teams and how you can interchange the players and how you can use certain players with certain strengths for the better of the team, and how you can make it work. So that's it from me on this video. Once again, apologies that it was a bit late. This game was played on a Sunday. It was a great game, and unfortunately I didn't get enough time. Also, follow Ball Sense on Instagram. Now, I had a few people ask me and say, oh, the Instagram is a lot different to the YouTube. That's simply because the Ball Sense on Instagram is a dedicated page to provide transfer news and rumors, as well as updates on deals that are done, as well as to provide scout watches on players that score a goal or perform well for their teams, and not really give you a complete breakdown on each and every player. So it's an Instagram just dedicated to provide you the highlights of players and of news, of transfer news, of football news in general. It's not a page that goes into detail, because you can't really do that with Instagram. However, if you want more details, you want to see how it works, what happens during the game, and for more deeper insight into the game, YouTube is your place, because then there's more time to discuss topics and to explain the more in-depth. So do follow Ball Sense on Instagram and stay up to date. Also, check out the other videos on YouTube. There will be more videos now that the league is starting again. And that's it from me for now. Looking forward to it. Until next time, see you guys.